Today I am going to review a completely new laser cutter from Atomstack, the Atomstack Hurricane. It is a 55-watt CO2 laser cutter that is a direct competitor to Glowforge GweikeCloud and the xTool P2, which I have tested previously. In this video, I will put the Atomstack Hurricane to the test to see how well it performs in a series of practical tests, engraving and laser cutting various materials ranging from wood, plastic, to aluminum, and compare the results to its competitors that I tested previously. I will also test its mechanical stability and speed and explore its features and accessories like the air purifier, which is great for removing smoke and odors, and the riser base, which is great if you want to engrave taller objects. I will also test the Conveyor feeder system, which triples the Y-axis range, significantly expanding the working area and making your creations bigger than ever. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on my upcoming videos, where I'll be reviewing some really exciting machines that I've never tested before. My machine here is a pre-production unit which I received before the official release. The production unit will be better than my sample unit. The production version will have an additional USB port on the side panel. The gaps on the machine enclosure will be improved, and the production version will have an enhanced LED illumination, which will improve the visibility to the inside. The Atomstack Hurricane features a similar design to the xTool P2, which I tested a while ago. It has plastic enclosure, and the status of the machine can be observed by different colors of the LED lights. This machine also features a key lock which prevents unauthorized people from using the machine. The top panel has a power button, an autofocus button, and 3 LED indicators. Note that the production version will have a nicer sticker than this one. At the back, there is a port for connecting the fire extinguishing system, which will trigger in case of a fire and extinguish the flames. It has the same working area of 50 by 30 centimeters and the same power output as the xTool P2, and we will be able to directly compare the performance between these two machines. Inside, we find a large honeycomb for the working surface. The laser head is protected in a metal enclosure. On the top, there is a manual focusing knob which can be used to manually raise the nozzle and focus the machine. The machine also has an autofocus feature, which I will show later in the video. Inside, all cables and air assist hoses are neatly packed in cable chains, and the mechanical gantry is simple and well built. Inside, there is also a connection for connecting the rotary attachment. The lid is supported by 2 gas struts, which work very well, and the lid can be opened with one hand only. A cleaning brush, fire extinguishing hose, camera calibration pattern, fume extraction hose, and a spare lens are also included. At the back, there is a water-cooled CO2 laser tube. Before use, you need to add distilled water into the cooling system and attach the fume extraction hose, which is nice and long. The first thing I did was to align the mirrors using the Atomstack video tutorial, as aligning the beam makes a big improvement in engraving performance. First, let's look at how to focus the machine. You can manually focus the head by rotating the focusing knob on the top of the head. The machine is in focus when the air assist nozzle touches the top of the 8mm thick focus block. The second way of focusing is by pressing the autofocus button, which lowers the head until the focusing sensor stick touches the material surface. After that, the machine sets itself in perfect focus. Atomstack Hurricane also features a positioning camera, which is located on the lid. It is meant to be used when the lid is open, and it is helpful for rough positioning of the engraving jobs. For more precise positioning, the Atomstack shines a red light through the lens, allowing you to frame the design with high precision like on blue diode machines. Otherwise, CO2 lasers have invisible laser beam, and it is impossible to frame the design without this feature. One last thing I had to do before engraving was to connect the Atomstack air purifier system. I don't have the machine near the window, and this purifier is a lifesaver as it filters out almost all the smoke and smell, and the air can be released inside my workshop without filling it with smoke and harmful fumes. The air purifier has 3 filtering stages. The first stage is a coarse filter that removes the big particles, the second filter filters out the submicron-sized particles, and the third filter is a heavy beast, full of active carbon which filters out the smell and harmful gases. The air purifier has an adjustable fan speed. It can be quiet at low speed for light engraving, or can generate a ton of airflow at full speed for maximum filtering when cutting demanding materials. Air purifier seems expensive at first, but it is a great investment in your health and the health of people around you. Next, I went to engrave my standard plywood engraving test pattern, so we will be able to compare the results to other CO2 laser cutters I have tested so far. The pattern consists of the power scale test, which tests the engraving performance at different speeds, the interval test, which gives a hint of the laser spot size and shape, and the photo engraving test, which will show us the machine's photo engraving performance. Looking at the results, we can see that the Atomstack Hurricane did exceptionally well. It produced clear engravings with very little smoke stains. Looking at the power scale test, we see that it produces very dark and deep engraving which burned through the 3 mm thick plywood board that I used for this test. At higher speeds, a very nice progression from brown to black color can be achieved. The interval test shows us that the engraving performance is similar in both directions with vertical orientation showing a bit wider laser beam. And the photo engraving test shows that this machine is very good at being able to engrave high details. I am very impressed with this machine. By comparing the results with the xTool P2, which I have tested previously, we can see that the Atomstack performed better. But take a note that with the xTool P2, this pattern was engraved before I calibrated the laser beam, and more smoke stains were present because of that. Atomstack also performed better than the GweikeCloud, but that machine is in a much lower price range. Then I went to do the plywood cutting test on 3 mm and 6 mm poplar plywood. The Atomstack Hurricane performed very well. Compared to the xTool P2, it produced much fewer smoke stains. However, it's important to note that the xTool was tested before I adjusted the beam alignment, which likely caused the increased smoke stains. We see that the xTool has performed better with the thicker plywood, which suggests that it is better at retaining focus at larger distances. If we also look at the cheaper GweikeCloud Pro, we see that it also performed a bit better at thicker plywood, but it performed much worse at the thinner one. I also did the cutting test on acrylic. I used transparent acrylic since CO2 lasers can cut transparent acrylic just as well as black one, which sets the apart from blue diode lasers. The Atomstack Hurricane did very good in this case. It is able to cut 3 mm thick acrylic at higher speed than the GweikeCloud and the xTool P2. Atomstack Hurricane can be controlled using the brand new software called Atomstack Studio. It is easy and free to use. It is similar to the xTool Creative Space software, and it is great for performing all the tasks needed to operate the machine. But if you are an advanced user, you can control the Hurricane with Lightburn. It is amazing software which is not free, but it offers a 1-month free trial so you can try it out. The Atomstack Hurricane needs the cheapest GRBL license, which is a great advantage as CO2 lasers usually require a more expensive DSP license. Next, I did the camera alignment procedure in Lightburn to see how well it works. This camera is mounted on the lid, and it is supposed to be used with the lid open. I covered the honeycomb with black paper, so the camera detected the test pattern with higher accuracy. The procedure is quick and easy to do as the test pattern and the cardboard material come included in the package. To test the accuracy, I drew a dot on the cardboard and went to engrave a cross in the center of it, and the result was excellent. But you need to watch out as the camera doesn't correct for the thickness of the material. If you place thicker material inside, the alignment will be slightly off. But this is not an issue, as camera is used for rough alignment and the actual positioning is done by the red dot preview. Next, I went to engrave some anodized aluminum. I used a camera for rough positioning, and then I verified the position with the red dot framing function. This test is used to evaluate small text engraving capability to see how the machine performs at detailed engravings. And the mechanical stability is tested by engraving squares at different speeds to see if there are any mechanical vibrations present at higher speeds. And the most important part is the interval test, which is used to measure its laser spot size and shape. Looking under a microscope, we can see that the Hurricane did an excellent job at engraving very small text. Even the smallest text is perfect. The squares were engraved at speeds ranging from 100 to 10,000 millimeters per minute, and they all look perfect. This is very impressive. And the interval test shows that the laser spot size is approximately 0.2 millimeters, which is normal for CO2 lasers. Then I did the focus distance test, where I engraved squares at different distances from the optimal focus. This test was easy to do with the Atomstack Hurricane thanks to its ability to dynamically correct the focus height in real time. This test is a good indicator of the machine's ability to cut thick materials. The Atomstack Hurricane did worse compared to other CO2 lasers in its class. This also explains why it was the best at cutting 3mm thick materials, but other machines were better at cutting 6mm and thicker stuff. Here is how CO2 lasers compare to diode lasers in this test. I wanted to test my theory by trying to cut 15mm thick transparent acrylic. Atomstack Hurricane was able to cut it, which is impressive, but the finish was nowhere near as good as this figure, which was cut with the xTool P2, which is much better at retaining the focus at greater distances. I also did the high-speed test by engraving a test pattern at 500 millimeters per second at various power levels. The Atomstack Hurricane did a great job, making very dark engravings with very little smoke stains. Compared to other machines, the Atomstack's engravings have more contrast and look great. I was also able to get the machine riser kit and the conveyor feeder system. Both are made from metal and look very sturdy. The conveyor system looks very sturdy and gives out a premium feel. The conveyor system expands the y-axis range from 300 to 800 millimeters, which opens up a whole new dimension, allowing you to work on very large designs. Small adjustable sliding tabs are included for clamping down large sheets of wood. If you use narrower pieces, you can use the included crossbars to hold the material. To use the conveyor system, you need the riser base installed on your machine. It features magnetic doors on both sides, which are quick to remove. The conveyor system is easy to install. First, you need to remove the tray, and then the conveyor is slid inside and align it so it locks into the correct position. The laser head is manually lowered so the autofocus can reach the surface. The conveyor plugs in the designated port on the inside of the machine. The tray is massive, and it extends out of the machine on both sides, so you can't have the machine near the wall. I will cut out a decoration piece from black paper, which is easy to cut so I can show you how well the conveyor behaves at high speeds. I used cutting speed of 150 mm per second and 40% power. The only downside of this conveyor system is that it extends out of the machine on both sides, so the laser can't be located near the wall. But you can't go around physics if you want a larger working area. We can see that the conveyor easily follows at this speed, and quickly, the job was complete. The pattern came out perfect and it looks incredible. Since CO2 laser is great for cutting plastic materials of any color, it can be used to make cool signs out of a dual-color plastic like this one, which I got from Creatorly.com. The engraving process removes the white top layer and exposes the blue color substrate below. This is a cool way to make custom tags, keychains, or signs. I also made this cool-looking dishwasher indicator for clean and dirty dishes. You don't need to be an expert designer to make cool stuff with your laser. I bought the design on Etsy.com for a few dollars, and it was cut in a blink of an eye using the Atomstack Hurricane. The Atomstack Hurricane is a very versatile and easy-to-use CO2 laser cutter. Compared to its competitors, it performs exceptionally well at laser engraving, producing dark engravings with high contrast. It is also very reasonably priced as it is currently selling for only $2,799, which is more than $1,000 less than the xTool P2. It is also Class 1 certified, making it very safe to use. The Atomstack Hurricane supports a ton of different accessories and attachments, allowing you to tailor the machine to your specific needs, making it a reliable tool for your hobby or small business. You will find the link to the machine in the video description, including some discount codes. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing to stay up to date with the latest laser equipment.